Well, good afternoon, everybody. Midweek video. Not very often you get one of these, mostly because you got one that was about 9 hours long on yesterday morning, I believe, Wednesday morning. So, not a whole lot going on the last 48 hours here in Ontario. It's just been too darn cold. A couple of pipes froze in the barn. It's a good thing we have some very handy, talented grooms with us that know a little bit about plumbing. Um, we had a couple of pipes break in the top barn. I've been at Campbellville training, so this is Tomiko Training Center. It used to be called Campbellville. It was called Paymont before then. I've been at Tomiko, Campbellville, Paymont, I think, when I first came, for almost 15 to 20 years, off and on. I left and went to Baycairn for a few years when it had gone downhill a little bit, and then it went under re-ownership and it fixed it up. Anyway, never have I ever seen the water buckets freeze, especially in the top barn. In that top barn, for those of you that have been to our facility, there's 53 horses in that top barn. It's enclosed. Yes, there's some cracks and stuff, but pretty decent area. Not what I would call frigid. Come in today and water buckets are frozen. Water frozen. Minus 24 when I get up this morning, and I didn't get up till 7:45. So by the time Mario and them got there, probably minus 27 before the wind chill, and it was windy. It was a nasty, cold day. It was brought to my attention recently that I'm not supposed to use the word Eskimo, so I won't. I just did. Anyway, it was very, very cold. Nobody jogging, can't do anything. Now Saturday, it's supposed to warm up. Imagine, minus 40 with the wind chill today, or more, or worse. Friday around minus 25. Saturday minus 4. Sunday plus 4 with rain. Monday plus 6 with rain. Just about the worst weather in the universe right now. Might be worse in, I don't know, Mars. So it was cold. We didn't get a whole lot done. I told everybody we were going to try and drone this Saturday, and the weather looks so good. I'm like, it's perfect. The track should be good. Minus 4. You couldn't ask for much more than that. The O'Brien Awards are Saturday, which means nothing to me, but to Kelly and Curtis it does. They work on the O'Brien Awards. Curtis does the video broadcast. Kelly is the MC. So, no drone, no pictures, no drone day. So Saturday we won't be droning. The following Saturday we'll be droning. Now, I had told everybody there's some big news coming up. The big news was, and I'll tell you why I kept it quiet, I've been asked to speak, much like I did in New Zealand for 12 days, but in Australia. On February 20th I'll be leaving. I'll be gone for 12, 13 days, and then I'll be back. Now, obviously, it's not a tremendously difficult time of year. The weather's beautiful over there. I wanted my wife to go with me, and unfortunately this is a time-sensitive trip. Virtually what they want is somebody to come over and speak to their horsemen and speak to their industry and get everybody optimistic and hopeful and positive leading into the sale season and stakes. There's a big festival week, I believe, the Miracle Mile, I think it's called, and then they have their big sale. So they asked me to come over and speak in Australia, and I'm happy to, but it's time sensitive. And of course, I kept it quiet because, as you all know, little Adeline is born, probably getting out of the hospital this week, 1st of February. But the doctor said she didn't think she'd be very comfortable with Amy flying with the baby, only because her last shots are due on the 28th, 29th. Obviously, certainly don't want to endanger my child or my wife. I know my wife would have a great time. Australia is on her bucket list. I'll be honest, New Zealand was beautiful. I'm sure Australia is much the same, except warmer, because we're going now, or we would have been going now. But I'm pretty laid back, 12 days, 6 or 7 speaking engagements spread over thousands of miles in Australia. I didn't realize how big. I knew it was big, obviously. I'm not an idiot, but I didn't know it was that big. To drive from the first place I'm speaking to one of the last places is about a 9-hour drive. Obviously, we're flying, but there is some driving in between. So, although it's what I guess you'd call a working vacation, I'll probably have a lot of, hopefully have a lot of fun when there, meet a lot of people, but an opportunity for us to get the message out, not just of TheStable.ca, but mostly just of fractional ownership and what they call syndications in Australia and New Zealand, which are very, very important. What I would consider important, what you should also, for the viability and the future of this industry. So I will be going to Australia the end of February. Now, no drone day this Saturday because of the O'Briens, so we'll be going on the 9th with a drone day. On the 9th with the drone day, and then we'll see if we can squeeze one more in. If we can't, we can do one of two things. You can do it when I'm gone away, which may or may not be conducive to what we're trying to do. It might be okay. Or simply wait until I got back on the week of the 4th. So, a lot going on in that regard. The big news obviously coming up for us every year, you guys know this, is the staking. February, March, for those big stake races again in May. A lot of money goes out the door. And I was going to say window, but that would be bad for them. Last year we spent a lot of money, $378,000 Canadian, staking these horses, and I think we had a good year. I think we recognized there was some ways we could save money. For instance, the Ohio program, it conflicts with a lot of other major stake races. I wanted to take Oso Pine to the Houghton last year, but I would have had to miss 2 Ohio Sire Stakes to do it. Can't do that when there's only 4, 5, maybe 5, and it's a point system. We just can't do that. White Tiger, we went to the Houghton, but if he didn't win or finish second that last night, we didn't make it in the final with him also. So there's always that slippery slope of staking them. Now, if we have a horse that we believe is Grand Circuit, we want to be eligible to the Grand Circuit, but we need to have that fallback of the jurisdictional staking also. So those are things I have to look at. Ohio, virtually all the Ohio horses are going to stay in Ohio for the most part. I believe I staked maybe Globetrotting to the Breeders' Crown here in the end of the fall, and it's tough for me to sit here and talk about Breeders' Crown and Hambletonians and whatnot when, you know, a horse that we pay in the Hambletonian, I paid 2 horses in the Hambletonian, Oso Pine and White Tiger, after looking at the videos of Yes and West 52nd train the other day, I was left wondering if I should. And again, these are questions that I want to relook at. The problem we had this year is that I didn't get the staking booklet until right now in email form. I won't have a physical staking book unless I print them all off, and it's a little different. We're still using the same staking service, but that service was sold to one of the people that worked there. So Joanne's staking was sold to Jim Inglis. Jim's worked for Joanne forever. Now it's Jim. Still, he kept the same name, but we were a little late getting our staking booklet from them. Not a big deal. So I went and staked the horses to what I thought was good. Now I'm looking at some of them. The 3-year-olds, we staked Oso Pine a little more aggressively. Lawmaker, we had some aged events for him, 4 events for him. I'm just looking quickly at the sheet here. Cruising in Style had a couple of events. Some 3-year-olds, the usual suspects, regional staking with a little smattering, if you will, of the John Simpson or the Liberty Bell or the Keystone Classic, things of that nature. West 52nd, again, Simpson. I did have him down for the Breeders' Crown. And yes, also, I believe we put him on the list also. Doesn't matter. Anyway, a lot's going on, and I thought the best way to do it, rather than preach in just a video form like this and wait for responses, what we did at the sale this year, we had what was called a webcast. Now, a webcast allows you to phone in or sign in on your computer, where you can listen to what is being said and you can give feedback. If you go on your computer and go to the website, you can watch what is being said. My picture's there. I'll have a TV, so you'll be able to see me. Not that that matters, but you'll be able to see me talking about what we're doing and how we're doing it in the stable. And it gives everybody an opportunity to give their 2 cents and speak up. You'll be able to respond and ask questions. If you want your questions asked and answered beforehand, or at least answered on the webcast, you can send questions to Kelly at TheStable.ca. Obviously, Kelly Spencer is going to get those questions and give them to me. We'll make sure they're answered for you and for everybody else to hear. In regards to any other live questions as it pertains to staking, where we staked some of these horses, we'll be sending out hard copies today. At day's end, I will have an invoice and what I would hope somewhat of a hard copy of how much it cost us, which is going to be around $50,000 this month to start with, and much more next month and again in April. A list of what we're staking to, what their dates were. I think as far as conflictions, I steered clear of them, I believe, best I could, and I believe did well. I talked to Jim on the phone for about an hour and a half off and on yesterday, maybe 2 hours, and we nailed down where we thought the horses could go and what they could do. In that regard, I think we're on the right track. Now, we do have a lot of horses we paid into the Breeders' Crown, and I didn't want the fact that it's in Ontario at Mohawk this year to play a role in whether we entered them. They should be entered on their merits. Certainly not on the location of the Breeders' Crown. Even if they had it at Tomiko Training Center, we have to be realistic of who we have in. Now, there are some horses I have on the fringe here that I think deserve to be put on this list, but they may be excluded also. I already did scratch a few off, but we still have a lot of horses, and the reason is that I think we have a lot of talent, a lot of deep talent this year. Not that we didn't last year, but I don't think anybody embarrassed themselves last year. I know I'm going to have some comments about Cruising in Style and him going to the Breeders' Crown last year. We dealt with that in-house during the time. I think we knew he was a long shot going in. What I didn't know is how tired he was at that point in the year, mostly because I wasn't driving him. By the time I realized after the elimination that he was indeed getting a little tired, we ended up racing him in that the overnight, which maybe I regret doing that a little bit, but that's all under hindsight, and we're not going to go down that road. When it comes to some of the horses we staked a little heavier, you can imagine who they are. Obviously, I talked about Oso Pine, White Tiger, yes, West 52nd. We entered Twinsburg in some of the races later on, the Simpson and whatnot. And See You in Tuscany probably made his way onto a little. Now, some of these horses weren't eligible to them from their yearling nomination payments weren't made, so some of those horses aren't eligible. Oso Pine, I was thinking about taking him to the Breeders' Crown. Actually, I believe I didn't, because it was going to cost us $10,000 to supplement him. Can't do that. So actually, I misspoke earlier. I don't think he is in. I'm certain he's not in. And I believe also horses like Yes, if they weren't nominated, I'm not going to supplement them at this time of year for $10,000. Now, let's be real. The payment to get into the Hamiltonian is a $2,000 payment due right now. That's it. $2,000, and you are sustained. You're nominated and sustained, I believe, right up until starting day. Obviously, the starting fee is significantly high also, but nevertheless, we paid White Tiger into it. I believe we paid Oso Pine into it also. I know that Oso Pine, let's try not to judge too much from the videos the other day. I'm looking at the horses. Now, a West 52nd without trotting hobbles on in a much more mature body could be a scary horse. So there was decisions that had to be made. I think all these horses, again, Ohio is a pretty deep group, and a lot of money in Ohio and a lot of money to be made in Ohio, so there may be changes made to that aspect of our staking program also. But this is the reason I want to have the webcast with you. One, I want to make sure that our clients feel, as they always should, and I hope they always do, that you have a voice and it's heard, and we want to make sure that it's heard. So this webcast gives you the opportunity to voice your opinion, to have your opinion heard, to ask questions to me, and to have them answered. I know when we were at the sales, we did this, and we had between 60 and 100 people log on. Listen, guys, we have 1,300 people, almost 1,400 people now on our email list. We have 619 people that are active clients. I would hope everybody takes an opportunity, if you can, to log on and at least follow along with the dialogue and the conversation to see what people are saying and to make sure that your questions are answered. Maybe there's questions you never thought of that you'll have a chance to actually absorb and realize what we're talking about. And I will too. The reason I want to have this is because there are things that I may have missed that I want to make sure we give our clients an opportunity to speak up. So that webcast, in this email, you have the link for that webcast. That webcast will go out and anybody can log on, watch what we're talking about. I'll have obviously a script that I want to talk about, but a way for everybody to you'll have there'll be a scroll there where people can have their questions. You'll see them pop up right in front of you, and in turn I'll answer them live like I am right, or not live like now, but in the video like I am right now. So that is very, very important. The last matter to speak of is, as you know, if you've been a client of ours in the past, and if you haven't, this is very, very important, and I need everybody to understand this. We have our stake payments due February 15th, March 15th, April 15th, and I believe a couple in May maybe even. But March and April are the biggest ones, but February is a problem also. Now, as you know, we aren't Ron Burke Racing. You know, this isn't, and I'm just using that name. We don't have a big bankroll, so I'm trying to get at. And if I have a bill of $60,000 plus the staking fees, so we had to pay them to give us that stake and work with us with the staking, make sure they're paid on time as a whole, to take that off of our plate, I think it's like $200 a horse. The bill for the staking service and the bills for our stakes are due on February 15th. That check will go out stamped on the 12th. If it is all possible, and I'm sure you understand how important this is, we need to have all the money in by the 15th. And all year, you know, we have great clients. You guys are great clients, every one of you. No problems whatsoever, no issues, nor did I ever think there would be. And we've always just, you know, whenever you send it, that's great. Most people pay in Canada with Interact email transfer right away, or through PayPal if you're abroad. But it is very, very important that we get these payments in before the 15th. There just isn't a ton of money there where I can cover somebody until their check arrives. So if you think of it, when you get your bill around the 1st or the 2nd of the month, take a second. If you don't have the money, you don't have the money until later on. Maybe drop me a line and say, hey, I can't send my check until the 15th or the 18th or the 30th, whatever. Drop me a line just so I can try and do my best to work around that. But if you can, please drop that money in the mail right away. It is vitally important. So that's it, the webcast on Monday. Send all your questions to Kelly at TheStable.ca. I'll answer them all live for you right on the webcast. We can talk as a group, as I like to do, and make sure that everybody is on the up and up and everybody understands where they sit and everybody's on the same page. So that's it. Not much to talk about racing. Everything's canceled. We're going to race a couple tonight, maybe. Too Far Gone, who's obviously in tough. I don't want to race her in London anymore. The track's too tight and it's like a skating rink. She's a big moose. I don't want her over that track. So she can go race at Flamborough and see if we can get her tight in that regard. She can get around a half, but she'd be much more effective on a bigger track. So she's going to race tonight at Mohawk against Fan the Flames and the other maidens. There'll probably be scratches tonight, and I guess it's just going to be acceptable. It's minus 15 right now. So it's warmed up, if you can imagine that, throughout the day. We also have Road Trippers racing tonight. We got some horses in London tomorrow. Holding Steady and Lanier are racing. In the final of the Blizzard Series, we have Stonebridge Loyal. I know she's in tough, and just getting a check is going to be a chore, but we'll do what we can do. And we have other horses racing on the weekend. Now, the last little bit, I'll just touch on it quickly. We have a number of horses that are in the Ohio sale, a number of horses I've put up for sale. And the reason people, again, we can talk about this in the question and answer section of the webcast on Monday. And again, in case you missed it, that link will be in this email. Just open this email back up, click on the link, that'll take you to the webcast, and you'll be able to join in right there. The reason we're selling these horses is I just don't deem them effective. Two of a Kind Hanover, nice filly. I just don't think she's a ton of ability. And when you think about it, think of it like this. It's $2,500 a month to train the horses down, times 6 months. That's $15,000 plus your staking. I'm not comfortable charging you another $18,000 to train down Two of a Kind Hanover. That's what it comes down to. I always say it, and I hope you believe it. I treat everybody's money like it's my own. And I don't think that I can possibly come up with any sort of business plan to give you to keep either Talking Peter or Two of a Kind Hanover. Peter's a different machine altogether. Fast, big, strong, all the tools to be a good horse. Absolutely despises every second he's on the track. Maybe he just needs to mature. American League was much the same when he was 2. keep in mind, American League is now 4 and still has yet to make $30,000. So I learn as I go along also, and I don't want to have anybody stuck for money and have a bad taste in their mouth. And I know if you invested in these horses and you own these horses with me and we're partners, I'm just trying to do what's right for you. And it's the same with Quartz Blue Chip. I'm going to take a bath on that filly, a bigger bath than anybody. Quartz Blue Chip is one. Majesty Boy won the other day. He may win himself off that list, but there's still a lot to do. 2-4 last half of a minute's a long way from being an effective horse. But they are sending a check for that win, so good for him. Candy Max, same thing. Nice little horse, just not going to fit in. And there's one more. Ready for the Beach. Again, not sure he really wants to be on the track. Got a little talent. We'll probably get paid okay for some of these horses. And then we have maybe some horses that might find their way into the supplement. If we don't get a lot of interest in Talking Peter and Two of a Kind Hanover, they might go to Ohio Sale, as a horse like Curious Winner might also. I didn't mind the way he was the other day. I can see a little bit of improvement in him, but there's still a lot in front of him. So a lot to do. As I said, just trying to make the stable a better place for you and for me and for everybody else. A lot going on. As you can imagine, a lot going on in the next month for me and my wife and the kids. So that's it. That's the whole video in the middle of the week. Not much to talk about in the race side. Horses are training good, except they haven't left the barn the last 2 days. You can't. Not unless you're an Eskimo. Or a polar bear. Polar bear probably leave. Walrus. I think they're in the Arctic. I don't know. Seal. But not a horse. It's too cold for the horses to be training the babies. I don't like missing days, but when you have to, you have to. Today and yesterday we had to. So they'll all be training on Saturday. We'll be back with a drone video a week from Saturday on February 9th, and then we'll see if we can squeeze one more in. If we can't, you're gonna have to hold it for 2 weeks, and we'll be back at you soon. Anyway, that's it. 22 minutes of it. Soak it all up. If you feel like it, send me an email if you wanna say something now or ask a question now. Of course, you can send the questions to me too. I'm gonna answer them for you. But the formal way to do it through this webcast this Monday would be Kelly at TheStable.ca. Thank you very much for paying attention, watching this video, and understanding the importance of much of what I talked about. We will talk soon.